Okay, let's be honest. Have you ever had the situation where you were really trying to talk about something and then the whole conversation de-escalated into an argument or a fight and you're like, what happened here? This is really horrible.
And having this fight that you didn't intend to happen or that you don't want to be as part of the process with it too, but it just evolved into that.
The good thing is that there are solutions to this, and you really are not alone, because this happens. There's 4 sneaky communication habits that we get into, and they kind of derail the situation. But once you know them and can spot them and you can stop them and go to make this tiny shift to utilizing communication in a better way, it makes all the difference in the world.
The first one is blame. It's your fault that happened.
Why did you not take the trash can out? I saw the trash truck came and you never take the trash out. And that's like pouring gasoline on the fire, right?
Take the trash out.
You do take the trash can, but sometimes you forget.
Right.
But not always. And so the situation is the solution to this would be to ask for what you want. Speak from your heart of what's going on.
On your own feelings. You don't have to make it a club you hit your partner with it too. You can just express what you're needing and what you're wanting.
So going to a place of when there's stuff on my desk that's not mine, I feel overwhelmed and anxious, and I feel, it takes me a lot of time to have to really get my stuff together in order to work on my desk. Would you be willing to keep the stuff on your desk rather than put them on my desk? And so that makes a huge difference in the response that you're going to get.
And notice, when she was saying that, she used I language. I'm wanting, I'm needing. Would you consider giving me an option to do it or not do it with it too? That takes all the offense out of expressing what you're needing. But if you go to the blame to start with, your number 2 trap is going to immediately follow it, which is defensiveness, and that's not good. What do you mean I don't take the trash out? Etc. And we go to that and we escalate. Okay. Why? Somebody's thinking they're right. They're talking monologue, and then they talk on top of each other. And so once we start that progression, well, let me just one up you here with it too. And I'll get more intense and more loud, and you get up here and you start this massive fight. And you don't even know what you're fighting about. It's because of that defensiveness.
And it's natural to feel defensive when you're being attacked, right? But it is kind of a trap that you can kind of come into. So when your partner is talking, a lot of times it even happens when you're not being attacked, when they're just kind of saying, I felt hurt when you interrupted me the other day. And then you would well, if you didn't always interrupt me, if you let me talk, I wouldn't interrupt you.
Instead, we got to kind of go to a different space with that, to let the other person know they're heard. So if I got that, you felt hurt by that and felt attacked. Did I get that?
Yeah, you got that.
Is there more about that?
Yeah, I think that it's important for me to finish my thought before I lose it, and then to not feel like I'm being interrupted. And I can complete the loop in my mind.
Okay. So if I got that, you want to complete the loop in your mind and finish your thought and not worry about being interrupted when you do that. Did I get that?
You got that. Thank you.
Now, that's a very different way of doing it. What is that? That's a dialogue skill that we've learned in our relationship of being together 45 years to apply so that we don't get caught in the blame trap or in the defensiveness trap with it. Now, the third one that usually follows these other 2 is shutting down. Okay? If you are feeling like you're being attacked or you need a timeout, it's okay to take a timeout for a couple of minutes or go out and walk on your sidewalk out front of the house for a minute or whatever. But you got to come back in and re-engage if you do that. And this thing of going 2 and 3 days at a time with the silent treatment of not talking and staying shut down, not okay in your relationship.
Oftentimes when we feel hurt and we do shut down, then it's we're trying to protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
It really, so it makes sense, but knowing that it's hurt It's hurtful when you do that. It's hurtful for your partner when you shut down. They don't know what's going on. So communicating from a place of, I need some time to myself. Let me just come, but then coming back. Also, there's two different dynamics here at work. One person really wants to solve this problem and they really want to talk about it. And so you shutting down is a huge issue for them.
And painful.
And it's very painful. And one way to do this is for always to ask for an appointment. Is this a good time for me to talk about this situation? And allow your partner to say, oh yeah, I can be available. Or let me wait, let me go to the bathroom, let me eat.
Just get something to eat.
or whatever they need. Sometimes it doesn't need to be that night. Sometimes it could be like in the morning, but don't chase them. And if you're the person who goes into your shell, don't make your partner chase you. Come back when you are in a good place and you can listen to what they have to say.
You don't have to chase them down. And by the way, that's a very destructive thing to do is, if they shut down and they need a little time to regroup with it too, if you continue to chase them down and go into attack mode with it too, they're going to tunnel in even further into their shell. So you're not going to get what you want. But if you make the appointment, that gives them a little space to regroup and say, hey, how about I'm exhausted. I just worked a 12-hour shift. Can we talk about it in the morning over coffee? That way you're going to be heard. And that's why making the appointment can be a game changer as far as you're not needing to, let me make my point. Because that's kind of where we go,
Yeah.
And we all do that.
Because we want to be heard.
Right.
I mean, that's important because that's why we're talking and that's why we're together. But sometimes it's not a good time. And we all have the movie running in our heads. And so even if it's not an important thing to talk about, even if it's not, it's just kind of like I'm hungry and I want dinner, to kind of say, can we talk about dinner and what we want to do for dinner? And then because if I'm writing an email and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to be interrupted in this email. So if I stop what I'm doing and start to listen to you, I'm already going to have an edge because I'm like, oh yeah, number one, I may not have even heard the first 3 sentences of what you said because I was thinking about this, but even then I'm going to have an edge. Whereas if I can say, oh, just give me 5 seconds, let me finish this so that I can give you my complete attention. And that's just a huge thing that helps.
Yeah. So there's a fourth one that goes along with this too, and this is probably the deadliest thing in relationships, in my estimation, with the people
for
that we
you,
work with. For me especially, but I see that with a lot of the clients that we work with as well, is presumption. And I'm going to have a parenthesis here of mind reading. Oh, I know what you're going to say already. You don't have to tell me. No, you don't. You need to give them the opportunity with that. But that's the space we go to then is, well, I know what's already going to happen anyway. No, you don't. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what they're wanting to communicate or what may be bothering them or whatever until you hear it. So give them the opportunity to express it and get yourself into a position of curiosity to listen and learn what it might be, because most of the time it's not what you think.
It really is not. You have no idea, especially if you can go deeper into your conversation and get it out of a surface level.
It may be something from your past that, in a situation you're in that's triggered you that has nothing to do with your spouse. But if you don't listen to that and you don't get to a space where you're curious to find out what the rest of the story is, you're going to go into that presumption place. And let me tell you what, your spouse, if you do that, is going to get madder and you're going to fight more, because that's the progression that usually takes place. So asking instead, hey, is it a good time I can tell you're frustrated. Is it a good time to talk about what's going on?
Yeah, it is a good time. I am feeling a little bit frustrated. Thank you for listening. I would love to share for you. And then you want to listen. Don't interrupt.
Don't put your stuff in it, your opinions.
Yeah, and let them just share what's going on. Because a lot of times one partner is a little bit hesitant to share. Probably they've never been listened to in their lives. And so they're kind of hesitant. And sometimes it takes a little while and you're like, if you're a person who really likes to communicate and you're good at like sharing your stuff, then you're going to be like, just get to the point. And then I kind of have to go all the way around and kind of like, oh, because I'm not sure I can trust you to really listen to where I'm going.
Is it safe? Even
Is
in
it
this
really
space?
safe? So then I'm going to kind of go to other things, and then I'll kind of like, oh, I know that you're listening. So then I'm going to kind of get to this really deep place, but that's where you want to go. So these 4 things and making these simple shifts can mean all the difference in your relationship. If you want to know more about listening, then watch this video here and check it out. And we look forward to hearing you again, because a happy marriage is possible. And if we can do it, anybody can.
That's for sure. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next